Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 89, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and with me once again is my friend Brian Hall.
Hey, what's going on, Zaki?
Not too much. It's been a busy couple weeks. Lots of movies coming out that I have not had a chance to see coming up. So we'll be talking about a bunch of stuff that has already come out.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, I feel like I've been watching a whole lot more TV than I have movies. And not even just like theatrically, but, you know, every now and then I like to pop a Blu-ray in or stream something. But even lately, I just feel like it's been more DVR time than I've had.
Why is that?
Recently, I don't know. I think for a while I didn't have any shows. Like all my shows went away, you know, like Game of Thrones, Mad Men, all this sorts of thing. And then I didn't really catch on to a whole lot of other things that people were watching. But now, like Better Call Saul, which is the spinoff of Breaking Bad,
which is very good.
Called a prequel. Very good. Yeah, I that's back and I'm loving it. I was really nervous actually because I feel like season 1 started and I was like, I get this.
Sure.
And then by the end of season 1, I was like, oh, there it is. Like they totally found their groove, their own tempo. And I was a little nervous starting season 2 because I wanted to really like it and be glad it was back, but I didn't want it to let me down. And
you know, the interesting thing about that show is that it's like they recognize, you know what, Breaking Bad was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
We're never going to have that experience again.
Right.
And so it's an attempt to play in the same universe, but to do something entirely different, which I really appreciate.
Which is great. Like they're not doing all these little callbacks. I mean, from what I've read online, there's little Easter eggs here and there, but they're not trying to like make grand swipes at like, remember this character, remember this moment. And it could entirely survive as its own thing.
Sure. It's like Frasier.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to Joey.
Yeah.
Those are the poles of spin-offs.
Yeah, but I'm really digging it. I wasn't actually prepared to talk about that one, but I was going to say, had you seen Vinyl?
I have not.
The Martin Scorsese produced, he directed the pilot, which aired on HBO. It was like a 2-hour pilot. Bobby Cannavale, I think his name is.
From Ant-Man.
From Ant-Man, yeah, correct. And playing the stepdad. And Olivia Wilde and Andrew Dice Clay and all sorts of people in this thing. I gotta say, you know, it's like the 70s. It takes place in the 70s about this fledgling music label, and I guess how this label got their groove back is kind of what the series is going to be. And I was kind of excited, but I don't know, man. I'm kind of not so sure about this one. I was curious if you had seen it because at work, people are sort of like on the, you know, there's the people that like it and the people that have already given up. And I think I might be on the side of giving up pretty soon.
What is it airing on?
HBO.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know of it, but only in vague terms. I haven't, man, I got so many shows like on my to watch list that it's like, I don't know if I can add one more anyway, you know?
No, I mean, well, and that's kind of it. I've grown more comfortable now with being like, you know what, I don't think this is for me, and like I know what is for me, and I'll stick with what's for me. And I don't know what it is about it. I mean, it's, you know, full of unlikable characters, but that it doesn't mean it can't be a good show. I've liked shows with anti-heroes before, but something about it's just not grabbing me. I don't know. I about 2.5 in, I kind of gave up halfway on the third one, but I don't know. I'd love to talk to anybody or hear from anybody that, you know, would talk about why they like it. But
well, if you're watching Vinyl and you listen to this show, send us a note. Let us know what you think. moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Alternately, I've been watching American Crime Story, The People versus O.J. Simpson,
which I still need to watch.
That I seriously cannot get enough of.
I can't wait to find out whether O.J. is found guilty or not.
Right. But I mean, knowing that it's sort of a limited run, I think it maybe 10, maybe it might even be 8, but I'm already lamenting it being over. Like I look forward to this every week. I feel it takes place in a piece of history that I was alive for and that I remember. And so it's really interesting seeing that dramatized. I think that's, you know, it hasn't happened a lot to us in the years moving forward. Obviously it will, but I just feel like it balances that fine line of being a respectable show, but at the same time kind of poppy,
Sure,
kind of
sure.
pulpy, and like sort of, it's
Campy.
It's just campy a little bit, and it balances that line perfectly, or rides that line perfectly, and I'm really really enjoying this show. So anyway, I'm recommending that to you.
I had a student the other day who was singing the praises of this show, and they went into a very elaborate string theory explaining how if we could go back in time and stop OJ from killing his wife, we could stop the Kardashian empire from coming into existence.
That is, I don't know. Who's to say? Who's to say?
It's the butterfly effect.
Yeah. They do lean a little too heavily on the whole Kardashian. Like the Kardashians were involved, even though obviously Robert Kardashian was a big part of it.
Like
they do show the
friend, right? I mean,
well, yeah, but his family is highlighted quite a bit more than I think would have been
too much.
Yeah. But speaking of string theory and time travel, I'm still keeping up with 11/22/63.
Look at that. Hey,
on Hulu.
Ryan Hall with the segue.
So that's how it works.
And, well done. I passed the crown.
Have you started this? Or are you watching this?
There's another one I need to.
I gotta say, this is really hard for me to say, but I'm having a hard time with it. Like this is coming from someone who will be a snob and say I read the book and I adored the book. And I have two things I would say about it. One, it's not adhering to the book, which you could say, well, no crap. It's 8 episodes it was an audiobook that I listened to, and it was 30 hours long, 30. Sure. So obviously in 8 hours, they have to truncate. But I haven't really always understood the things that they've truncated. I've missed some things. They've added a character that didn't exist in the book. Well, no, I take that back. He existed in the book, and they've extended this character. So now he's a sidekick to our main character, which he was not in the book. And I don't really like him.
Gotcha.
Which leads me to B. I was hoping, in the age of HBO and AMC and how movies or shows can feel almost like movies and more cinematic experiences, I just feel like this show feels a little too television for what I was hoping out of this story. And a part of that actually is this side character that I don't even have it pulled up in front of me what his name is, but he's the type of guy where it's like, look, James Franco's from the future. No one needs to know about it, right? Well, so this is the kind of character who will get drunk in a bar and be like, oh, he's my friend from the future. I'm like, what is like the book would have never done that. Like it just feels like a very TV. We needed to have some sort of stake in this act kind of thing. And it's like, okay, like, and he's done this like twice, like almost messed up and given away that this guy's from the future. It just feels, for a book that was so rich and the characters were so rich and the story was so well spun, it just feels like a overly simplified version of something that could have been great. But I talked to some people I work with who haven't read the book and are enjoying the show. So I have a lot of baggage that I'm bringing with it. So I don't know, but I'm going to finish it. And
in for a penny, in for a pound.
Oh, for sure. Because I got to see how the whole thing is.
Well, and how many episodes deep are we now?
I want to say that was 4. I think we're halfway out of 8.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So then at this point, you might as well finish it.
Yeah. As of what's today, March 3rd. But, and I wasn't planning on bringing this up either, but do you remember the movie Joe versus the Volcano?
I do.
I rewatched that this past week, which was a really interesting experience. Do you remember, were you a fan of that movie when it came out? We were kind of young.
Yeah, I don't remember having much of a reaction to it. That was with Meg Ryan, right?
Yeah, and Tom Hanks.
That was the first pairing of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Which
I had kind of forgotten. I thought about that while I was watching it because we think of Sleepless in Seattle and But yeah, no, I started it because I had for some reason that made an impression on me when I was a kid. I saw that in the theater with my parents, and I was just kind of curious.
Is that Nora
Ephron? No.
Okay.
No, it's someone I do not recall, but it's interesting because this is what it struck me as, and this is why I started watching it again. I saw it was executive produced by Steven Spielberg, which I did not remember at all. And it's kind of like a fable. Like it's kind of, or a fairy tale. It starts, with Once Upon a Time kind of a thing. It's this quirky little movie. And I thought, this is kind of the equivalent of that goofy movie that would come out in March that like everyone would be like, did you see this funny little movie? And it'd become kind of this little pop hit kind of thing. And so I was like, I want to see what that felt like back in 1990, and it was interesting. it's something about it didn't like hold together entirely like I felt like it could have. But I don't know. It was just a fun little flashback. So I don't know. Just a goofy movie.
It's funny. Speaking of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, in one of my classes last week, one of my assignments is I have them compare a movie and a remake of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my students did The Shop Around the Corner and You've Got Mail.
Oh, funny.
Which is the third pairing of Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's describing You've Got Mail, and she says it's called that because it used to say those words in the old days when you logged in. And I was like, I guess that was the old days.
Yeah.
And it's weird how when you think about it, that phrase "You've got mail" was so ubiquitous,
mm-hmm.
but it's this little stick pin in time now.
I didn't even have AOL, and I completely know, like, that would strike a chord with me if I heard that.
Like, the voice.
Yeah. You've got mail. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So I just found that amusing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, back to the present time. I saw Eddie the Eagle.
So did I.
Which came out this past weekend. Hey. All right. Well, Eddie the Eagle, which tells the story of Eddie Edwards, who was a British underdog ski jumping Olympian. I guess it's kind of an interesting story because I watched the '88 Olympics, and I guess I was too young to really follow the stories that were attached to each athlete. But this is kind of a crazy story about a guy who was not a professional ski jumper, but through sort of like loopholes in the rules, figured out how to compete in the Olympics and didn't do terrible. You know what I mean? Like he didn't die for as dangerous as this.
I mean, if that's the bar, yeah. I mean, surviving would be not doing terrible, but I mean, he did finish last.
Yeah.
So, I mean, technically that is doing terrible.
I guess I guess you're right. I was going to say, I mean, he didn't, in my opinion.
I mean, making it
not a
to the
professional
Olympics.
ski jumper who, made it to the Olympics and didn't like wipe out. Like, it's kind of amazing.
Sure. I mean, it's an amazing story, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Not to oversell. Yeah, he didn't. This isn't like Rudy. He didn't score a touchdown or anything.
Right.
But speaking of Rudy, so I mean, that's what's sort of interesting about this movie. It's an interesting movie. It's got a kind of goofy tone to it.
Yeah.
And to me, it actually felt like someone from another country doing their best imitation of an American sports film.
Well, and that's kind of what it is.
It's kind of what it is. And it's kind of got all the beats. And it hits them pretty hard on the nose, I think, all the beats. And it's kind of, I think, up to opinion. I've read in reviews and with my own opinion about whether you find that charming or grading. Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle on it. I thought it was fine, but I did find it overly familiar.
Yeah.
In a way that was unnecessary.
Well, I mean, it felt like Cool Runnings, and I think they even name check Cool Runnings in the movie, or that situation in Cool Runnings, which I think is entirely appropriate. I think this is it's like a Saturday matinee with your kids movie.
Totally, or like TBS.
Yeah,
on a Sunday afternoon kind of thing.
Well, not TBS. Too many damn commercials, but. But it's like I took my kid to see it, and he's 9, and I think he's kind of right in that wheelhouse of being able to get it and really appreciate. I mean, it's a very wholesome film. It's not skeezy. It's not dirty.
Yeah,
and I appreciated that. And I mean, the cast is fantastic. It's Hugh Jackman plays the coach. Mm-hmm. The entirely fictional coach, by the way, does not exist.
Well, okay, so
invented out of thin air, this person.
Since you bring that up, I was going to do that as the reveal. Speaking of this being sort of like a familiar sports outline, you have this kid who wants to get to the Olympics. So he
Taron Egerton, by the way.
Right. Who reaches out to the grizzled man who runs the snowplow at a ski jump or a ski resort, and he had competed in the ski jump in the Olympics before, but he and his coach had a parting of ways, and so now he's become an alcoholic, and this kid's got to bring him out of his stupor so he can coach him and pass on all that he's learned. And that character is completely made up.
I know.
completely made up. Which is hilarious.
Which it's funny because I don't know about you, but as I was watching, there were like kind of like my spidey sense was tingling a little bit about the character.
Right.
And I was like, either a lot of this is made up or all of it is made up, but something's I mean, there's a scene early on. I don't know if this even constitutes a spoiler, but I mean, the idea is that he was at one time like the greatest ski jumper of all time. So he's up on like the 90-meter ramp, and he's sitting up top, and he just jumps off, and it's this amazing moment, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm watching it, literally as I'm watching it, I'm like, I'm 1,000% certain that did not happen in real life.
Right.
Because it's such a film moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So think of like your favorite pop song that you know is terrible, but you like it anyway. Like if you have something like that, I think this is that version of the sports movie. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I know. I think that
you might have liked it more than I did a little bit.
You know, I mean, I had fun with it. It's not something I'm in a hurry to watch again, but I can absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, who doesn't love an underdog story?
If it's sold well, sure.
Yeah, you know, so it's kind of like I think the performances are fine. Hugh Jackman is always entirely watchable. I think Taron Egerton, I liked him a lot because he really disappeared into this character in a way that to me showed what he's capable of as an actor.
You know what? I'm going to take back my Snooki reply there because Taron Egerton is so good in this. Yeah. And like, I think my any qualms I have are against the story itself, maybe, but like that character, Eddie, is completely likable. And he does a really good job knowing what a handsome guy he is. He's the main kid in Kingsman, and just seeing him sort of transform himself here and play this sort of quirky, like you say, underdog sort of character. I mean, he's a very likable guy. I found myself smiling a lot whenever he would do things or succeed or whatnot. So that's very true.
And by the way, I mean, Hugh Jackman and Taron Egerton and the director, Dexter Fletcher, they were in town here in San Francisco to promote the film. So I got a chance to hang out with them, and that was kind of a cool experience. I wish I could play the audio of our interview, but we did the interview outside. So it's just like horrible and windy, but it was this super cool experience. They actually, the football player Marshawn Lynch, he has a charity. So they set up this thing at a high school in Oakland where they brought kids in and they were doing some drills and stuff. So they actually got Hugh Jackman and Taron Egerton to run drills with these kids. And then after that, they had like a press gaggle and whatnot. So I brought my kid, my oldest kid, with me. And this was the first time that he's come with me to an interview. So he's actually seen what I do.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Did he have the concept of that this is what you do? You know what I mean? This is sort of
I don't know that he did. That's a good question. He doesn't talk much, that kid. I don't know why.
Just taking it all in.
Yeah, so I was like pointing out to him, because we could see Hugh Jackman in the distance. I'm like, look, and he knows Hugh Jackman because of Wolverine and Real Steel, exactly, which he also likes. So the coolest thing to me is that when we did the interviews, I had told him, I had told my kid, like when the interview starts, I'll try to let you meet him or whatever, but I need you to sort of stand to the side and to the back so that you're not in the way. And so the interview starts, and then he's like, hey, Hugh Jackman, of course, he's just so gregarious, and you can just picture him,
Yeah.
And so he's so gracious with my kid, which I'm so appreciative of. But then the interview starts, and he's like, come on, mate, and he like kind of pulls him in to the circle.
Oh.
So that he can, so he's like standing next to Hugh Jackman for the whole interview, Wow. And I was just thinking, I was like, he's going to remember that,
Oh yeah.
Like that'll be something that hopefully he carries with him. And I just remember thinking like for Hugh Jackman, it was just a second of just being a person, you know what I mean? But he gave my kid this thing that like he'll carry with him forever.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really nice story.
Yeah. So that's maybe that's why I like Eddie the Eagle slightly more than you. I have like positive neurons firing in association with it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just a totally sweet, predictable.
Yeah, honestly, it's a shame it's not doing better, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it wasn't. I didn't really see its presence everywhere.
Right.
I don't think I ever saw an ad for it. I saw billboards, but
Yeah, well, I mean, they were doing a lot of publicity for it, but
Yeah.
I think maybe the title was like a little off-putting. People didn't know what to make of it.
It's true. Actually, kind of think of it. I went to a press thing for it, and Taron Egerton
Uh-huh.
was there. Hugh Jackman was supposed to be there, but didn't show up. So I
Oh.
think my negative neurons were.
Now we know. Now we know. Check.
Yeah.
Well, other new releases that are out right now. There's a movie called 999, which is in theaters now. It's directed by John Hillcoat, who did Lawless, and he did The Road, which I liked. I don't know. Did you like The Road with Viggo Mortensen?
Yeah. Yeah,
Not
I
a
did.
feel-good
It's very
movie, The
bleak,
Road.
but it's what?
It's not a feel-good movie, The Road.
No.
Extremely bleak, and I think that we can. Oh, and he also did The Proposition like 10 years ago.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen that, but I think Hillcoat there. He's got a certain worldview. It's very very grim and very grimy, and this film is pretty much within that realm. It's the term 999 is the police code for when an officer is shot. So if a police officer says, I have a 999, that's basically a signal to all police officers, stop what you're doing, come to this location. Because, obviously it's the Brotherhood, right? So in the context of the film, the idea is that you have these corrupt cops who stage a 999 so that because basically when a 999 happens, all the cops stop what they're doing. So it's like the rest of the city is unguarded, right? They stage a 999 to pull off this heist, and it's got a fantastic cast. We got Chiwetel Ejiofor, who else? Kate Winslet is in it. Norman Reedus, Anthony Mackie, Casey Affleck, Aaron Paul. What's that?
Is Woody Harrelson in this?
Woody Harrelson, of course, yes. And to be perfectly honest, I was not crazy about the movie.
Interesting. Dude, I love me a heist movie. I was getting excited.
Yeah, I just it felt like a better idea and concept than execution. I felt like there were a lot of and I appreciate it. I appreciate any film that tries to do something different. So I'm not like down on it, but I have to be honest and say it didn't really land with me the way I hoped it would.
Okay.
But
is it worth checking out?
I would say it's like a Netflix movie.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, again, fantastic cast, Aaron Paul, who I got to interview Aaron Paul for this.
Nice.
This is now my second interview with Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
So he actually recognized me, which is pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was neat. He's like, yeah, I remember you from Need for Speed, which is what I interviewed him 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, wow, nice.
Which is that was pretty cool, and it's actually kind of funny because I interviewed Hillcoat also. Actually, if you go to my blog, you can see the transcription of all these interviews. John Hillcoat, really interesting guy, and I appreciated the film more hearing his take on it.
Sure.
But I interviewed Aaron Paul, and then I got in my car and I went to a screening of another film called Eye in the Sky.
Oh, wow.
Which stars Aaron Paul.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that. I didn't know Aaron Paul was in it.
Was there another Q&A thing afterward, or
no? It was I was watching Eye in the Sky because I was going to be talking to the director of that film, Gavin Hood.
Oh, funny.
And Gavin Hood is, of course, the director. He did Satsi. I don't know if you've seen that. He did Rendition, which I liked. He did X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I liked slightly less. Ender's Game he did a year ago. So a very interesting director. So I was
Ender's
like,
Game, yeah.
Ender's Game. You remember that one just kind of came and went.
Yeah.
So I was looking forward to talking to him. I had no idea who was in it. I didn't know anything about it. So talked to Aaron Paul about 999, hop in my car, drive down the street, watch Eye in the Sky. And it's like Aaron Paul. I'm like, wow, okay.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It'd been funny if he was there too, and you're like, well, hello there.
I know. Hello again. So Eye in the Sky, this is an interesting one because this is about drone warfare.
Right? Okay.
So it's not an action movie. It's not a heist movie. This is about the consequences of using drones to conduct war. And you have Helen Mirren as the general, the commander in she's stationed in England, I think, and she's basically tracking these terrorists in Kenya. And then she's in communication with the drone pilot, the guy who's piloting the drone, who's Aaron Paul. He's in the United States. And then she's taking orders from the general, who's played by Alan Rickman, who's like sitting with, the representative of the prime minister in England. So you have all these people who are everywhere but where the actual conflict is happening. And so it gets into a lot of real murky stuff in terms of, drone warfare. I mean, there's a collateral damage that occurs, right? Whether we acknowledge that or not. So, I mean, we tend to look at it as precision bombing, and it's like, well, tell that to the people who are getting caught up in this. Right. Because we're not just killing terrorists when we drop drone bombs on people. Right. So this is a film that really gets into that. And so there's, I mean, it's not pat, it doesn't wrap things up in a bow. Sure. So it's very it's a very thoughtful film, which I appreciated. And again, I found it a return to form for Gavin Hood, because I did like Rendition, which is something tackles again some very similar terrain. But I did have a chance to talk to Gavin Hood. I actually talked to him earlier today. So I wanted to play my interview, which I really, really enjoyed talking to him. He's such an interesting guy, very thoughtful, and he sounds like Benedict Cumberbatch. Huh. So at the very least, it'll be interesting listening.
That's funny.
He's South African. I don't know if you knew that. So he's in town. He's in the Bay Area promoting that. So I talked to him. So let's go ahead and play my interview with Gavin Hood.
So the film, one thing I always, whenever I'm going to do an interview for a film, I don't read any of the notes. I don't watch a trailer. I go in completely cold.
Fantastic. That's the way it should be. That's the best way to do it.
I really, and I find that's just a much more, it allows me to luxuriate in the film a little bit more than having the preconceptions. But so this starts, and as a Muslim, as an Arab American who's very concerned with the portrayal of the Middle East and Islam in media, reflexively, we start seeing, the terrorists being depicted, and I'm kind of the
feeling
short
uncomfortable.
Hairs. Absolutely, the short hair starts standing up, and
understandable. Yeah,
and the thought I had was, well, this is from the director of Rendition, so it will not be a simplistic film.
So you didn't come in entirely as a blank slate, you see.
That's true, very true. Well, I came in with your filmography as the backdrop, right? So I appreciated that there was a complexity in this, and I appreciated that you're tackling a topic that a lot of, I mean, not just filmmakers, but politicians and journalists do not want to talk about, which is this very deep and wide gray area that is drone warfare.
Right.
So I guess my question is, why do this story?
Thank you. It's a great question. I was reading a lot of scripts, and I happened to read this fabulous script written by Guy Hibbert, a British writer, and I hope, the same experience that our audiences are having now, which is I began reading. I didn't quite know where it was going. I became hooked by the tension of the scenario that he created of should we or should we not release a Hellfire missile. And I thought at some points I knew what I would do, and then no sooner did I thought that I found myself turning the page and hearing an argument that made me question what I was thinking and wonder what I would do, and the tension ramped up, and at the same time, when I got to the end, I wanted to know what had happened next. I kept turning the page, and then when I got to the end, I was left with so many questions, and I wanted to talk to somebody. And of course, there was nobody to talk to. I just read a script all by myself. So I thought, well, if it's having this effect on me and it's encouraging me to, so I immediately went into the internet, and I started researching, and then I called some friends who knew friends, and I started talking to lawyers and people in the military and people in human rights areas, and before I knew it, I'd sort of spent 3 weeks researching based on Guy's script before I felt ready to actually declare that I was interested in directing the film. And I thought, if this script is prompting this kind of questioning in myself, maybe it'll have that kind of effect on an audience. And what I liked was that it didn't tell me what to think. It forced me to think. And I think that what I like about Guy's script is that he approaches this from multiple angles, including the angle, unusually, of the innocent bystander, which in film is often tricky to dramatize. You have this little girl who is the innocent bystander, who has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on around her in the story, and yet we see a world from a perspective that we would normally not see. We also see it from the point of view of the military intelligence officers, the drone pilot, all the usual suspects. And each of them is somebody who is facing the problem from a very different position and therefore has a particular point of view.
Sure. Well, I mean, and in dramaturgical terms, right, what's compelling is when your protagonist has to choose from two bad options.
Yeah. Well, I think, that brings to mind Hannah Arendt's comment that when you choose the lesser of two evils, don't kid yourself that you're not still doing evil. I don't think she put it quite as glibly as I just said, but the idea, the lesser of two evils doesn't mean you're not still having to choose.
Right. I mean, there's a moral
something
toll.
Deeply immoral.
Yeah.
So it raises a very difficult question. It doesn't present, I don't think, any easy answers. I mean, in some ways, it's really the trolley experiment, or the trolley problem, as people call it, which, if folks don't know about it, it's easy to look up on Wikipedia. But this idea of the train that's moving down a track, and if you don't intervene, it will crush 5 workers, but if you pull a big lever, the train will move on to another track and only kill 1 worker. Will you pull the lever? And of course that's the starting point, but of course if your answer is yes, I would trade 1 life, I would intervene and trade 1 life for 5. The next step is, if you're standing on a bridge, the train's going to go under the bridge. It will take out 5 workers, and standing next to you is a large man. Will you put your hands on that man and push him off the bridge? It's still 1 life for 5, but somehow people recoil because it's a little more intimate.
You have to get your hands dirty.
You have to get your hands dirty. And then the question, you can spin it out any way you like. I mean, now you're alone on the bridge. Would you jump off the bridge and trade your life for 5? And then the question is, well, who are the 5? You finally ask. Well, they're your family. Maybe you would. They're not your family. So these kinds of ethical and moral questions and scenarios you can spin out and change the facts just slightly, and it fundamentally changes the way individuals approach the problem.
Sure.
And I think, you can change a guy's scenario in the film just a little, and you might come to a different approach, which sort of begs the question then of the bigger themes that I think the film, or raises the question, raises the question of the bigger themes. The broader themes are what you alluded to earlier, which is, what is this new form of warfare where we are not putting the hands on the large man, we are pulling levers from a distance, we're firing from a distance, our troops are safe. What does that create? A sort of detachment? Does that make it easier to pull the trigger? Many in the military would argue no, because now we have greater intelligence and we can see better, and we're not just firing a missile from out at sea off of a ship, we're actually looking at the target. On the other hand, that attempt to sanitize war, I think, can, if not carefully examined, make it easier to go to war if you're using a sort of technology that operates at a distance. And then the next question that it raises is, what is the effect on the civilian population? That you're firing a missile out of the sky, and how does the civilian population react to that event? Are you ultimately, in attempting to take out one individual, losing the battle for the hearts and minds of the local population and creating more antagonism to your cause? And all of these questions you could pause the film at any point and spin off in a particular discussion, because at each moment in the film there's a slightly different argument being made by a different character. So
well, and I mean, without spoiling anything, I mean, the ending of the film, there's an ambiguity insofar as where things go next. And I think for me, certainly the testament of a film being effective is when you're mentally mapping out what happens next.
Oh, that's wonderful. I like that. Thank you. What is that? What is the journey? What is the next step of the father of the child?
Right.
Where does he go?
Yeah.
And that's almost a sequel, I suppose.
Right.
Because you're right. It is an important question. I mean, the thing with drones is people can sort of get so hung up on the idea of the drone, but really a drone is a weapon in the way that a sniper's bullet may be a weapon, or a tank. The question is not what is the weapon, but what's the strategy behind the weapon. What is the strategically wise way to use this tool or not use it? And so one should not confuse tactics with strategy or technology with strategy, which is, and I think the film addresses that as well, because so much of the conversation is not about the drone per se. It's about what are the implications of using this weapon.
The political.
Yeah, what are the political, what are the legal, what are the moral questions, what are the propaganda questions. There's a great moment in the movie. It's actually the moment I like best when a particular politician, played by Monica Dolan, as the Undersecretary of State for Africa, says, throughout the film she's been arguing against using the drone, right. And the feeling, and one is playing on sort of stereotypes in a way, is that, this is a woman who just doesn't want to get her hands dirty and lose the life of an innocent child. And then she makes the argument, yes, I don't want to use this weapon, but I'd rather that Al-Shabaab took 80 lives and were blamed for that event than that we took one and were blamed by the local population. And you go, oh my God, it's a very uncomfortable moment. And it hints, you could spin off into a whole other movie about strategy and counterinsurgency and hearts and minds, and so that's why I say you could pause the film at that moment and have a whole conversation, not about drone warfare, but about any kind of warfare that is supposed to ultimately be aimed at winning people over from one way of thinking to another. And is this strategy doing that or not?
So, well, and I mean, when we talk about the different points of view being expressed at the end, we have Alan Rickman who says, the things that I've seen as a soldier, and you don't ever want that, and I'm doing a disservice to what he says. But my thought was, do you feel like just by virtue of the authority that he embodies both on screen and his persona, do you feel like that's sort of putting the thumb on the scale a little bit in terms of the film's point of view?
I think it's a very, very, very fair question, because he delivers that line, never tell a soldier he does not know the cost of war, with such authority and power that it's a winning line. And certainly if you're in the military, it's a winning line. But no sooner has he said that than he leaves, and we go to the consequence of war. When he says he never tell a soldier he does not know the cost of war, well, what is the real cost of war? The film ends with the loss of that innocent life in a hospital and the devastation on those civilian parents. You know the cost of war, Mr. Rickman, from attending the aftermath of various suicide bombings? Well, here's the aftermath. Sure. And the cost of war to these folks far exceeds the cost of war to you. But not necessarily to another soldier. So I think I hope that the film both frustrates and appeals to both sides, and that's a dangerous thing to try to do. Sure, it is. I acknowledge that, but one of the things that's so frustrating in the current political discourse to me is this sort of extreme binary approach. I'm right, no, you're right, no, I'm right. And we should have these difficult conversations. A real democracy is about trying to find solutions by acknowledging the point of view of someone else and then presenting them with yours, and hopefully A plus B leads you to C. It's not A or B. Right. And somehow in this current climate, everybody seems to have to be in the sort of positional bargaining business. This is my position, and you stake it out and defend it with your life.
No matter what.
Yeah, and I don't think that's helpful. These are difficult questions, as the simple trolley problem illustrates. If you think there's a sort of one solution to the entire problem, I think that's either naive or arrogant. We have to address these scenarios with intelligence and respect and a genuine search for a better way of doing things, as opposed to this perpetual positional argument. I think you know what I mean. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not expressing that much.
No, I think you're doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, shifting gears a little bit, this film has the sort of just the unfortunate timing, obviously, of arriving a few weeks after Alan Rickman passed away. I mean, this giant. And it was a gut punch to me to read about his passing. I can imagine what it felt like for you, and I'd love for you to share some memorable story about working with the late great Alan Rickman.
Well, Alan, as you pointed out, the role of the general, I think it could so easily have been played in a fairly stereotypical way, a general with one position, and this is his view. And what Alan brings to a role that could easily have been played very simply is a huge degree of intelligence, humor, irony, wit. He makes you laugh in the film at moments of extreme tension. He helps the audience just release that tension for a moment, just by a throwaway a line that is dismissive of the politicians, but I in a very real way.
The doll. I'm told that's important about the difference between the one doll and the next.
Yeah.
The way he just curls his delivery in that way.
Isn't he fantastic? Yeah, I know, he's just amazing. Alan has the ability to play sort of absolute emotional truth, and yet with real humor, and never taking it to the sort of slapstick level. And we talked about that, and it's very awkward for me in a sense that this is his last film, because I wish he were here to talk to you about the film. He was a highly intelligent man, an extremely kind man, and he had a lot to say on this subject, and he would have said it in that wonderful voice. So I do wish he was here to talk about it. And in many ways, it's not a flashy role, but he fills it with such nuance and dignity and authority. As you pointed out, when he delivers that last line, it's quite chilling, because he delivers it with such authority. And that's a credit to him as an actor. He doesn't in any way cop out and suggest, I as an actor think differently, but here we are. He just gives that line, and you must deal with it and let the story and the points of view of other characters, because that would be that character's position. That is the truth of that character's point of view. Yeah. And it's chilling to hear, and yet it's true for a man who is able to compartmentalize. And I don't mean Alan, I mean a general who has succeeded in compartmentalizing his life at war from his life at home, where he's clearly going to his granddaughter's birthday with some doll under his arm. It's so bitterly ironic. Right. It's awful and chilling, and Alan doesn't flinch from playing the power and horror of that idea.
The performance just speaks.
He speaks. He's loyal. He's committed to his performance. He doesn't comment on it. He said to me, I said to him when we were starting, I said, Alan, do you have any thoughts or concerns or notes? I'd love to talk about them, because there's nothing worse as a director than getting onto the set and then having an actor shut you down for 5 hours while they debate a line. I'd rather get that done.
Get it beforehand.
Yeah, you want to talk all that stuff out in pre-production and make sure you're all on the same page. And he very graciously just said, Gavin, I just feel my job is not to get in the way of telling the story. I mean, from such a great actor, it's a very humble thing. He's not searching for more lines for himself. Right. He understands this is an ensemble piece, and yet he stands out because his presence is so powerful. No, I think we were very lucky to get the cast we got. I mean, Helen as well.
She's fantastic.
Isn't she fantastic? And that part of the frightening thing about Helen is we really like Helen Mirren, and then when she starts doing things that twist us again, it makes you very uncomfortable, because you want to believe she's doing the right thing. And again, she doesn't flinch from playing the truth of her character. She plays it with total conviction as someone who's been tracking a particular terrorist that she truly believes is someone she needs to get rid of for 6 years, and that doesn't make her objective. And she commits to that lack of objectivity, if you like, as an actor. And that's what the role of the military lawyer is, to step in and say, I'm not sure you're being objective. And the role of the audience is as jury. That's, for me, what it is. You present all these things with complete conviction based on the characters and the jobs that they do, and you say to the jury, what do you think? And hopefully it generates a conversation. That's the idea anyway.
Ideally.
Ideally, yes. Yeah, ideally. And of course, ideally doesn't always come through. I accept that. But ideally, and I've been finding that, though. In the screenings we've had, people, you eavesdrop on conversations after the screenings. And sometimes you find people having some heated debates. Right. I'd much rather people had a heated debate than just sort of left and said, well, that was nice, so we get a pizza. And then at the end, sure. Let's rather have a heated debate or a good conversation than no conversation at all.
Well, and with that in mind, I mean, for my last question, I was wondering if you could thinking about how you've worked on smaller, more intimate films such as this, and then obviously you've done the Wolverine movie and Ender's Game, and I mean, how do you put them in different boxes in terms of the big blockbuster films, the big studio films where you're answering to the overlords?
Films made by committee. Yes,
right.
I mean, look, it's a great question, and one that obviously is. Let me try and answer it as simply and truthfully as I can. I started off making small films. Because there was not as much perhaps financially at stake, I was allowed to do my thing. Sure. And I perhaps came to Hollywood and the world of the blockbuster a little naive. And certainly when I went into my first big studio movie, I had not experienced that degree of paranoia, the number of people involved. And I say that, I shouldn't really say that in a cynical way, because, the stakes are the survival of a studio.
Hundreds of millions.
They really actually are. But I did not love that experience. And so to be able to go and make a film with people who are making a film because they really want to engage in a conversation about the questions the film raises, fortunately, we were able to make this film at a price that didn't terrify the financiers, although obviously they still need to make their money and make their money back and hopefully make some money. But the motivation behind making a film like this from everybody involved is to make the very best version of this film that they can, because they're all engaged in the questions the film raises. And that leads to a much happier filming experience, quite frankly.
Well, and I mean, I think just picking up on what
I think a better film.
Sure. Well, and I mean, I think there's something counterintuitive about entering a situation where you've been brought in based on your resume and your skill set, and essentially being told, don't do what you do. Don't do the thing that we.
Yeah, please direct the traffic, and then when and then of course, as a young filmmaker, you push back against that, and you push back, and that's what makes the experience quite tricky. Is I hadn't yet figured out how the system worked, and I learned a great deal, some good, some bad, and. But if you go to this movie and you don't like it, you're free to blame me entirely. I have nowhere to hide. I think I started out with a great script from Guy Hibbert. I had wonderful producers in Jed Doherty and Colin Firth. We were all trying to make the same film, which is a wonderful thing. And I hope that audiences will find it both a good thriller, keeping you on the edge of your seat, but also leave you with a great deal to talk about and discuss afterwards. And for me, that's a reason to go to a movie, as opposed to good guy beats up bad guy and world is set straight. That's not how the real world works.
Well, my partner on my show, he refers to the blue beam shooting into the sky, which is kind of his shorthand for the big blockbuster where the stakes are so sort of ridiculous that it's hard to get
to connect.
He says, I'm just tired of the blue beam shooting.
Oh, I like that. And the blue beam. I'm going to steal that. Yeah. Well, this is not a blue beam. This is multiple beams shooting up into the sky, and
none of them are blue.
And none of them are blue, and it's up to you how you orientate them, I guess. Wow, what a attempt at an analogy.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to talk to you. Really a pleasure.
So yeah, if you notice, Brian, I made sure to drop a mention of your famous blue beam shooting into the sky.
That dude, crazy.
That has now hit Hollywood. I'm really hoping that'll catch on.
Well, it's funny because I'd kind of like, maybe we've moved past this, and then I saw a commercial for some TV show. I think it's going to be on Sci-Fi or whatever. And then, again, at the end of the trailer, like the culmination of everything was this big blue beam shooting up into the sky. It was like it's almost become a parody of itself at this point.
It really is.
But so now you would recommend Eye in the Sky then?
I really would. I think it's not perfect. I mean, I think there's some legitimate complaints to be had, but I think there's we don't get movies like this very often, and I think, and you'll appreciate this, I think we should support these kinds of movies because we do get them so rarely.
Right.
And again, as we talk about in the interview, this is the last film that Alan Rickman appears in.
Yeah.
This is his final performance.
Sad.
So there's an extra level of poignancy there.
Yeah.
And I mean, great cast. Alan Rickman, Helen Mirren, Aaron Paul, they're all great. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Nice.
But speaking of a great cast and all great, we have a listener letter here that I feel like we need to address, Brian, you and me. We've been building up to this. The day is here. It's finally come. And this is Emily emailed us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. And she's actually one of several people who contacted me with this question. And she says, can't wait for your takes on Fuller House. So Fuller House is the Full House sequel. It's now available on Netflix. And based on my social media feed over the past week, there was a severe lack of productivity because people were blazing through all 13 episodes or however many there are of the first season of Full House, which has, by the way, already been renewed for a second season.
Yep. That is, I can't even say, like on Facebook, everything. I mean, so much either written up about this or people saying that they were watching it I mean, I don't know that it was a huge surprise that it got a second season, but it must have hit pretty hard or pretty strong for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have seen it. I believe you have seen it too.
I have as well.
Okay. So Brian, I know you were excited about this. You were looking forward to this. You had marked it on your calendar.
Oh yeah. Like in some kind of sick way. I really was like, kind of like I will check this out like within the week that it is released. I will, because I grew up watching Full House, and like I remember it on Friday nights, but even more I remember when it was syndicated, and it would be like summertime, and I'd watch it at like 10 a.m. before I went outside or something. So like I mean I really do. I
remember our house, 2 Michelles and 2 DJs. Our house.
Yeah, totally.
I was on YouTube looking for that commercial, and
was it WGN on
I think it was a local WGN commercial. Yeah,
they had like the best commercials like that where they would repurpose a song.
Yeah,
I remember moving, empty nest is moving.
You know what I remember? This is not WGN, this was Channel 50. They would air Fresh Prince and Roseanne back to back.
Yeah,
Fresh Prince, Roseanne. Anyway. Sorry, we can go.
anyway, this is not what people wrote in to ask.
Yes, right. Tell us about commercials for syndicated shows in Chicago in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, so you're a fan. You're a Full House fan.
Yes. I mean, completely aware of what it is. Yes.
And what it isn't.
Right.
Which is good, by the way.
Right. And you are not wrong. It is a cornball show. Absolutely cornball. It's a relic. It's a relic. Yes,
very much so. It was a relic during the time it was being made.
Right.
It was a prefabricated relic.
Yes. And it's somehow, well, TGIF was kind of.
That's true.
Yeah, that block of shows on ABC. But anyway, so yes. I am fond. I have fond memories of this, of Full House. So Fuller House was really interesting to jump into, because I mean, it literally starts out with all the characters you know in the set, like the very set that I am familiar with. And it is just corny as hell. Just corny as hell. And immediately, Uncle Jesse, what's his name? John Stamos, is having his baby dance like Elvis, or not his baby, I guess his
grandnephew.
Yeah. Uncle Joey is doing Bullwinkle, which was dated when he was doing it back in 1989. And I don't even know where to begin with this. Let's put it this way. I didn't get through episode 2.
Okay.
Let's start there. Let's Tarantino this. Let's go backwards a little bit. I actually had a feeling in the middle of episode 2 where without articulating it in my head, I was like, this is work. And then I'm not kidding, Zaki. Halfway through, I was like, wait a minute. I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to, I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm not like, and I just turned it off.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but so I probably won't be going forward with it. But I did kind of enjoy the pilot. Like it's terrible. It is terrible, and it's like where to begin? Like it's.
Well, one review said that it's like a porno minus the porn.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I thought that what was kind of funny was like DJ. Oh gosh, seriously, I'm so all of it's trying to come out of my mouth right now. Let's start at the very beginning. What's it about? So what it is DJ.
It's about the Tanner family curse.
Apparently, yes. DJ Tanner, who is now all grown up. Her husband died apparently fighting fires in a noble fashion, and now she's left with this kid to raise. And she has her dad and her two uncles who were the heroes of the original series, but they all have their own agendas, and they're going to move to LA and to Las Vegas and whatnot. And so she's feeling overwhelmed, like, well, what am I going to do to raise this kid? And then her sister Stephanie, who's globetrotting DJ, hot to trot, right. And but she's like, you know what? And so she's the Uncle Jesse character because she's kind of hot and she's kind of cool and she's whatever. She's like, I'll stay. I'll help you raise this kid. And then you've got Kimmy Gibbler, who was the annoying neighbor next door as they were growing up. And she's like, well, I'm divorced and me and my daughter will move in and we'll help you too. So basically you recreate the original series with the kids as the adults this go around.
Right.
And in the pilot, I thought it was fun seeing everyone again.
Yes.
But it stumbled over itself doing callbacks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it recreated all these moments, like John Stamos as Uncle Jesse. So they have this party, right? It's like a going away party for the people who are leaving. And I was like, I know that person. Who are those four guys that look like hobos in the background? I seriously was like, those are the weirdest background people they could have ever picked. And then it's because those were the Rippers for right. Jesse and the Rippers, his band. And the only song Jesse and the Rippers ever sang, ever, was the song Forever. And so out of nowhere, of course, Uncle Jesse has to sing Forever. And then the Rippers, the aforementioned mysterious men standing in the background, all of a sudden had instruments in their hands, and then he sang it for about 45 seconds, and then it was over, and the audience screamed. And I mean, I guess that's what people want, right? I mean, it's like you can't really criticize it, but it was just clunky callback after clunky callback after clunky callback. Like it didn't really even feel like it was trying to be a story so much as like we're going to do everything you want, right? And then we'll get the story going in the next episode. So I don't know. I'm probably giving way too much thought and like opinion.
So I'm with you. I didn't make it into the second episode.
Yeah. Wait, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to follow up all that I said because it sounds like all I'm doing is complaining. I did actually kind of enjoy it.
Okay.
Because of the familiarity and nostalgia of it. But I also want to say, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to add this to follow up because this is also my opinion, kind of reflecting on what I just said. There were a million articles about how terrible it was. And, all the reviews are like, this is awful. This is awful. And I had someone even say to me like, oh, did you hear like how terrible it is? And it reminded me of that scene in Clerks where Dante and Randall are at the counter and this guy comes up with a National Enquirer in his hand. Uh-huh. And he's like, can you believe this? National Enquirer, like Bat Boy raised in cave? Where do they come up with this stuff? And then Randall just spits water in the guy's face. And so the guy leaves. And Dante's like, why'd you do that? He's like, can't stand people that like can't stop talking about how weird the National Enquirer is. That's how I felt about everyone complaining about Fuller House. I was like, well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the National Enquirer has weird stories. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like people that were like 1 star out of 5, it's like, well, yeah. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. And so like I at least admire it for being itself.
Sure. Well, yeah, and just to pick up on what I was saying, I mean that's basically I watched the pilot out of, I guess, partially kind of a sense of duty because I knew that people were going to want us to talk about it, and that was my sense with the pilot. Was I felt like if it was just the pilot and that's it, it's it's like a very Brady Christmas or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's fine. That ended, and I was like, all right, well. this new show is not for me in the same way Girl Meets World is not for me, you know?
Right.
Because that's essentially what Fuller House is. It's Girl Meets World.
Yeah.
That same kind of thing. Now, again, like you're saying, I don't fault anybody who's loving it, because
Totally.
that's great. Like, hey, that's fantastic. You know what I mean? But literally, I'm sitting here recording this. My wife is in the next room watching Fuller House.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's you know, that's great. Like, I think it's disingenuous to be like, oh, this nostalgic whatever is a piece of crap. How dare people watch it? Meanwhile, like, how much, you know, what is Star Wars but the guy version of that?
Sure.
Not even the guy version.
And direction and acting.
Say again?
I said with better writing, directing, and action.
Sure, but I mean, it's appealing to those same nostalgic instincts, right? Like Fuller House is tonally and thematically and execution-wise exactly what the original show was.
Yes.
So, in other words,
I think I follow you.
I mean, my point is, like, you know, you have to put yourself back in the mindset of the when that show was on. If you're passionate about it, don't suddenly come to the shocking realization that Full House, the original Full House, was not a good show, because, well, it was always not a good show.
Right.
So, I mean, my point is, it's like, well, if the success of Fuller House allows for Netflix to be taking risks on, you know, like the Marvel stuff that they're doing, and, you know, House of Cards and all those stuff, hey, that's fine, go for it, you know.
Totally. Sure.
I mean, I will say this, I think we're in this weird place right now where it's all about bringing back old ideas in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're soaking in it right now. I mean, there's the X-Files, there's Gilmore Girls is coming back again. There was Dallas a couple of years ago. Girl Meets World. You know, Star Wars, Rocky. It feels like an abundance of riches, I guess.
Right.
But I can't remember this many sort of revivals or reboots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering back in the 80s if people reacted to the new Leave It to Beaver the same way that people now are reacting to Fuller House.
I don't know. Or if anyone even cared and noticed that it was there.
Or the Brady's. Do you remember the Brady's?
Yes. Did you do that? Post that article with all the different theme songs?
I did. That was a Nostalgia Theater, yeah.
Yeah, that was, oh, man. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what that is, in the late 80s, after A Very Brady Christmas, which was like 88, 89, something like that, that did so well that it immediately spawned a drama series called The Brady's. Mm-hmm. So it was an hour-long drama. The Brady's, like the Colbys or something, you know. And this is the Brady Bunch.
Right.
This is Marsha, and, you know, we're building a house of cards, and, you know, like,
yeah.
But now it's, you know, Bobby is a paraplegic, and
it's crazy.
Mike is running for office. I mean, it was really, like, completely incongruous, and it's hilarious how terrible it is. And you can find if not episodes, clips on YouTube. So do see.
I would say if that you have any sort of inkling of interest toward that at all, and you have 5 minutes to kill, a fascinating study in a show trying to find its identity is watching the theme song of that show in 3 different forms.
So they had 3 different versions of the opening theme. Bear in mind, the show lasted for 6 episodes,
and they changed the theme song 3 times.
Every 2 episodes, 6 episodes.
Yeah, because they were so trying to figure out what their tone was, and it's funny. It's fascinating, I think.
Yeah, the final version of the opening theme is Florence Henderson singing.
Yeah, I
have to believe she had tears streaming down her face while doing that. So see, that's on YouTube, so you can find that.
Yeah.
So that's what we think about Fuller House. The Brady's was not a good show. So Brian, you're out, but you don't fault anybody who does like it.
No, but it's kind of like you said. I just feel like I don't have a lot of time for shows that I'm not passionate about.
Yeah.
But if there was like some moment where I had 20 minutes to kill or put something in the background, I could see myself popping another one on.
Sure.
Just because it's there.
I will say a couple reactions I had. Again, my initial reaction was, man, what is with this Tanner family curse?
Right.
It just offs the one parent, right?
Yeah.
Second, I didn't need to ever know that Kimmy Gibbler is a beast in the sack.
Right. Yeah. It's weird because I still think of them as kids in some ways, but yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, and related to that, like there's an inordinate amount of attention played to Stephanie's chest.
Right. Right.
Which, again, it's jarring.
I guess a little bit the elephant in the room, but yeah, it's maybe they had to. I don't know.
And then lastly, I do think it's a little unfair the way John Stamos won the genetic lottery.
Oh my gosh, dude!
The way he did it, I don't think it's right.
Lori Loughlin too,
and her too. Yeah. I don't think it's fair because I believe that when somebody looks that good, the rest of us look less good as a result because that's how genetics works, right?
Yeah.
You just suck up the good genes from other people. So
like Rogue.
So a little disconcerted by that. Moving on, we do have some headlines to discuss, and obviously the big one, we are recording just a couple days after the Academy Awards, and given that we are a movie podcast,
isn't it funny? It feels like an obligation.
Right. It's like this is every year, by the way, we do this. I'm pretty sure if you go back to our post-Oscar episode last year, kind of the same thing. Well, the Oscars happened, so
weird.
Did you watch the Oscars?
I DVR'd them, and so I could fast forward through them. And my DVR cut off like the last 45 minutes, so I missed the last like big ones: actor, actress, director, best picture.
So are you still waiting to find out? Should we not spoil it for you?
No, well, yeah, it was funny because then I had to go look it up online. I was like, man, I sat through best short documentary and all that stuff just to get to this. But yeah.
So did you have like an Oscar party or?
No, nobody was around. I watched it all by myself. No one was around.
That's kind of sad too.
I guess it is.
This is now my third year not watching the Oscars.
No, congrats.
I had a streak from the 92 Oscars up to 2012 or thereabouts. Yeah, that's right. 20 years. 20 years I watched the Oscars. And then I got rid of cable and suddenly I realized, wait a minute. It's like you in Fuller House. I'm like, I don't need to watch the Oscars anymore.
Right.
And I was like, I got 3.5 hours back. I can spend time with my kids or more likely get upset at them for making a lot of noise while I'm trying to read a book or something. But the great, so I was like kind of like sideways following along on Twitter and stuff while people were live tweeting. And there was one award that I had any kind of emotional investment in, which is Best Supporting Actor. I was waiting for the chance to see Sly Stallone get up there and give his speech, and it would be awesome. And then he didn't win, Brian.
Yeah, Mark Rylance. I think from Bridge of Spies, I think a lot of people, there was a lot of talk about him. But it seemed like things were steering toward the Stallone direction beforehand. Yeah. I'm still a little surprised.
I'm wondering what happened. I've read a lot of interesting stuff. Some people were like, we just don't like him.
Really? Like anonymous things?
Yeah, people like he's not a liked person because of, or he hasn't been because I mean, I don't know him, but I mean, I'm assuming that he may have burned a few bridges, during his 4 decades in the industry,
Sure. Who knows?
I mean, it's and Rylance was fine, by the way. Like there was nothing wrong with his performance, but I do have to admit that even when Bridge of Spies came out and people were like, Mark Rylance is so good, I was like, well, I mean, I didn't get the hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he was very comfortably that character.
Yeah,
but it didn't feel like he pushed himself through some sort of thing and came out the other side.
Yeah,
and like I feel like Stallone, I do feel like that with him in that particular movie. So I don't know.
I felt, I mean, for me, and I'm not this isn't some new observation. I mean, there was the symmetry of being nominated for the same role 40 years later, exactly 40 years later. And I just, when I thought about it later, I was like, that opportunity, like it's gone forever.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit, but I think Alan Spencer, who the creator of Sledgehammer, right, the 80s sitcom, he tweeted about that, and he's a huge Stallone fan, and he said, being nominated for playing the same role 40 years apart, even if you lose, that's not losing, that's going the distance.
Yeah, nice.
Which, I mean, you can't argue with that,
Yeah, for sure.
So I was a little bummed by that, but I was extremely happy to see that the film that won Best Picture was my favorite film from last year, which is Spotlight.
Yeah, and I don't think there was a bad one in the bunch necessarily, but I think that's a worthy winner. I don't know what else I would have.
Well, I mean, I think
the
movement was towards The Revenant.
Yeah. Revenant, I mean, Room was really good, but that's so different. Mad Max, I would argue, is really great, but like very, very different.
Mad Max did win more Oscars than any other movie.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
but it was an interesting year. Even when I hate talking about this stuff because it's so unrelatable, but like with screeners and all those things when they were coming out, it was sort of like every year I feel like there's like 3 or 4 films where I'm like, man, I can't wait to see that one. Yeah. And this year it was sort of like, oh, what's this one? Oh, okay. But you know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like Big Short even. Big Short was a good movie and I think people should see it and they'd like it. But like, I don't know. It just feels like every year there's like 2 or 3 like super strong Oscar movies you're looking forward to and that you're not sure which one's going to win, and you can easily argue with other people which one's worthy. And this year it just seemed like a handful of just pretty good movies.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
It totally does. I mean, I have not seen Revenant, so I can't speak for that, but certainly, I mean, is Spotlight winning? I think that's like people who liked The Revenant should not be like, oh, that crappy other movie won, because I mean, these are all solid choices,
Oh, for sure. I all of them. I saw all of them, and I thought all of them were good in their own way.
By the way, this marks 2 years in a row that the best picture of the year is a Michael Keaton starring movie.
Crazy, right?
So, I'm glad to see the Keatonaissance. I don't know if that's a phrase, but it should be.
Now.
I know both you and I have obviously a lot of fondness for Michael Keaton, just for Batman, if nothing else,
Mm-hmm.
And there was definitely this period where he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he's coming back, and he's really coming back strong, I mean, that makes me glad,
Mm-hmm. Same.
So I will say this, as far as the Oscars go, I appeared on another podcast about a month ago, hosted by Rob Kelly, called I know, sorry, Brian, I was cheating on you, Brian.
I'm just kidding.
Called the Film and Water Podcast, and it was an Oscar episode, and so we went through and did our predictions, and I actually picked almost every single category correctly. I picked George Miller for Best Director, and I picked Stallone. I was 100% certain that it would be Stallone. But other than that, all the major categories I got correct, so I'm very proud of that.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, and like last week, I was like, I think Inner Reach is going to get it for The Revenant.
Yeah, well, makes sense.
Yeah. And of course, Brie Larson, Oscar winner, Brie Larson, Best Actress, friend of the show, Brie Larson.
Yeah,
we've had an Oscar winner on our show now. So
yeah. Well, and I guess we have to talk about DiCaprio. Finally got his Oscar.
So I'm so tired of the poor Leo memes and the finally Leo memes, and I have to assume it wasn't coming from him because I don't think he's that superficial.
Right.
But the way people were talking about Leonardo DiCaprio not having an Oscar, you'd think he was out like paving roads and harvesting crops or something.
Right.
And he's been doing it for 20 years and he's due for a raise and he hasn't gotten one. I mean, this is one of the richest people on earth who has, I'm pretty sure, nailed every single supermodel on the planet in alphabetical order.
right.
So, I mean, let's, a little perspective can be helpful, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and well, I mean, in year after year after year, he gets to work with the best directors and be in the best reviewed, recognized, and loved movies.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he's got a wonderful career. So,
yeah. I mean, the whole it got a little much to me. Like, I think absolutely he's no doubt he's one of the great living actors right now. But just the woe is me. Again, not from him as far as I know, but certainly in the sort of the online commentariat, it got to be a little bit much.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that at all. I just kind of wanted it to happen so that would stop.
Yeah, well, I was thinking it'd be hilarious if his next project, now that he has his Oscar, he's like, it's like Big Mama's House 4. Like, that's his next.
right.
Just now, all bets are off now.
Yeah. On Instagram, there was a funny little video, I think it was from Variety, and it was a video of him getting his Oscar engraved by this woman. Uh-huh. And the woman's doing it, and he goes, so do you do this every year? And she goes, yeah. And he goes, I wouldn't know.
Was that real? He actually said that?
It was real, yeah. And he's trying to be funny, like with her. Like, he was being nice to her. And it was actually really funny.
that is pretty funny.
Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows?
Well, Leo has his Oscar, so
there we go.
The world can spin on.
Yeah.
We do have some other headlines real quickly that I wanted to discuss with you. We're just talking about reboots and sort of just digging up old properties. We now have a Lethal Weapon reboot happening.
Yeah, but not on the big screen.
Now, this is a TV series. This is also a new thing we're seeing where movies are being turned into TV shows.
Yeah. Well, it feels like that used to happen a lot more in the 80s, right? There was like a Working Girl TV show. There's a Ferris Bueller, the TV show.
Well, you know what it is? I'll tell you. It's everyone is hoping for MASH.
Right. Sure.
Right? Because MASH started out as a film, Robert Altman film, very successful. They turned it into a TV show, and it becomes one of the most successful TV shows of all time.
Right.
The final episode of MASH, even now, is the highest rated TV episode in history.
It's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So everybody's hoping for that. So I guess that's why there was Working Girl, and there was a League of Their Own TV series. There was a Bill and Ted TV series. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. Yeah. But so now we have Lethal Weapon coming to TV. I think it's for Fox. Mm-hmm. And they want Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans is going to play Murtaugh,
mm-hmm.
which isn't bad casting, actually. I mean,
I get it.
On a purely like grumpy old man level, I'm opposed to this existing.
Yeah, I mean, those characters are
those
Mel
actors.
Gibson and Danny Glover.
Yeah,
that's who Riggs and Murtaugh are. So it'll be a little tough, sort of like when you watch the Ferris Bueller TV show, which I remember very vividly, and I've seen it through your nostalgia theater. Seeing some kid come out and be like, "I'm Ferris Bueller."
Yeah, like, here's a cutout of Matthew Broderick, and I'm going to cut it in half.
Yeah, you're like, no, you're not. And so it's tough to like reconcile two different people trying to be people that you are very familiar with.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Optimus Prime. Sounds like my Transformer name.
I'm just picturing a Transformer that sounds like the dog on Family Guy.
Yeah, right. But I think it could work.
I mean,
there totally is a version of this that's a good idea, but it rarely happens.
I want a T-shirt that has a picture of you, and it says that in quotes. There's a version of this that's good,
right? I mean, that's what I believe. I mean, there is a good version for nearly everything, but just for some odd reason, beyond me, maybe too many cooks in the kitchen or something like that, but
too many cooks.
Too many cooks, but it rarely happens, right?
Yeah,
it's some sort of weird amalgamation of like the spirit is gone, but like the names remain.
Well,
Kinda
so
like-
so speaking of cooks in the kitchen, this is being directed by the original Lethal Weapon films, by the way. All four of them directed by Richard Donner, one of
Right.
the best workman directors in history, in my opinion. Just
Right.
he's not flashy, but he gets in there, he gets the job done. And they're clearly going in a different route with this because the pilot, at least, is being directed by Mick G. Our old friend Mick G.
Okay. You know what's interesting about McGee? When he did Terminator Salvation, I saw an interview where they interviewed Christian Bale.
Okay.
And they're like, why did you do that movie? Like, why did you work with McGee?
So
And
this
he-
is after Terminator.
This is afterwards.
After
and I
it
really
flopped.
respected his answer.
Uh-huh.
Yes. After it flopped and it's not well liked. I know we've had some listeners say that they think it's all right. And that's
Well,
fine.
they're wrong. We're moving on.
It is what it is. But his answer was, was interested in the character. And I went and met this director and he pitched me his take and he was really excited about it. And he sold me on it. And I was like, I respect that.
Sure.
Like, the director of Charlie's Angels, which I would argue is probably his best movie that he made.
It was all downhill from there.
Yeah. And Christian Bale was like, what do you have to say?
Sure.
And he believed him and it didn't work out. But I don't know. I just thought there was something kind of cool and respectable about that. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know that he's done anything to lead me to believe that he's the guy to make this.
Yeah.
But we're going to find out.
I guess whether we like it or not, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just, I have a real affinity for the Lethal movies. I don't know. I mean, I think you like them
I know
too,
you
but
do.
I mean,
No, I like them. You love them. I know this. Yeah.
I really do. I think all four of them, I'm just a fan of them. And so to me, it's like, just make something new. Like, let those be this thing, that existed and it was great.
Yeah.
And it's in the past now. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because all we're doing is we're in this feedback loop of just regurgitating properties, either sequelizing them or rebooting them.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, we love those things for a reason. They're coming back because they're beloved. So it's just too bad that too many times they can't capture the thing that we actually loved about it when they bring it back. It feels like that's the part that's always missing. It's like in name only almost.
Right.
And that's why they don't catch on.
That's true.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because there's also a TV series of Rush Hour that's coming up.
Right. Which, did we talk about that? The commercial that we saw?
Well, you and I talked about it off show.
Oh, right. Yeah, because it's so odd because again, that's the thing where
that's
the concept
Rush
of that
Hour
movie
is Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
Right. It's not like that concept is a thing that can be. Yeah, it's Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker together. That's what Rush Hour is. And so it's weird to see these two actors trying to emulate.
Not Jackie Chan and not Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, if you can see this, go to YouTube, Rush Hour TV show promo, whatever. It's like karaoke. It's like Rush Hour karaoke.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Well, and you think about it too. What's the appeal of Jackie Chan? His charm is a huge part of it, but mostly it's his crazy, death-defying choreography where he does his own stunts. And so I remember in the trailer it showed some sort of fight sequence, and I was thinking, oh, geez, like that's half the appeal of these movies. Are they going to have to come up with some sort of crazy, elaborate fight sequence every week? That's
Every
gonna be
week,
exhausting.
Right.
And can this guy even do that? Like grab an umbrella and start kicking boxes around and jump on a train, like.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. There's only one Jackie Chan, right?
Yeah. Right.
So now we're talking about Lethal Weapon. Worth pointing out, the original film written by Shane Black. And he's in charge of another reboot that's coming. And there's another property that he was involved with originally, which is the Predator.
Yeah, kind of crazy. That one kind of sneaked up.
It really did.
I didn't know a whole lot about that.
So Fox dropped a poster, just a teaser poster that says The Predator.
Mm-hmm.
And one presumes that's the title of this new film that Shane Black he has scripted and I believe will direct.
Well,
I was saying it's him and Fred Dekker is involved also, who directed Monster Squad. Fred Dekker. So I don't know which of them two is directing it, but I think we've talked about this before to the extent that Shane Black's involvement is what has me interested in this.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. I would be skeptical otherwise, and now I'm at least intrigued. Yeah. I'm curious what the setting will be.
Well, it should be I see what you're saying. Like where?
Yeah.
Because they did like the jungle, the urban jungle.
Right.
And then an alien planet.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's going to be a big part of what that movie is. Like, is he in something contemporary and, modern, and or is it like man versus animal in the woods again?
I think I said this before on this show, but the only way to make this movie work is you get Schwarzenegger to come back.
Should be great. Yeah. Maybe they will.
That's the Predator movie that people will want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger again.
Yeah.
Curious. Yeah. Well, that movie will, of course, when it comes out, be rated R, one presumes. Another movie that's coming out, which one would not assume would be rated R, but is coming out with an R-rated cut, is, of all things, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. We're now less than a month away, by the way, from Batman v Superman.
Yeah, you're right.
Crazy. In 2 episodes, we'll be talking about it.
Wow.
So the theatrical cut has not been rated yet, but we can assume that it'll be PG-13. But they've already announced that the DVD version, the ultimate cut on DVD, will be rated R. And I saw that, and I'm like, how violent do they need this movie to be?
Right. PG-13 goes a long way. I think that rating has been pushed, off the cliff, really. I mean, with like some of the, you look at the Dark Knight. Dark Knight is a dark, brutal, violent movie, really. Yeah. And maybe you don't see like blood all the time, but I mean, it feels like an R-rated film at points. So it's like what's missing? What did they feel like they had to add? Yeah. to push this that far? I have no idea, but
just rampant profanity.
Maybe
full frontal nudity.
Yeah. Frontal nudity. Yeah.
I mean, it's here's, and I really like,
I feel like we're ranting a lot this episode.
This is like a grumpy old man.
This is grumpy old man edition.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because bottom line for me, and maybe this is grumpy old man, but I'm just like, you know what? Superman should not be in an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
And I do feel very strongly about that. I'm like, you can tell R-rated stories, these characters, that's totally fine. But if you're making a big mainstream entertainment, it should be as welcoming as possible. And okay, this is the DVD cut, the home video cut, not the theatrical cut. This gives us a sense of how far the theatrical cut will go too. Then, you know what I mean?
Right up to the edge.
If they're trimming stuff out to bring it down from an R to a PG-13, that means that the PG-13 is going to be pretty intense as well. And my feeling is, am I wrong to want to take my kids to a movie with Batman and Superman in it?
Yeah, it's weird. Being as someone who doesn't have kids, there's part of me that's like, I want my Batman movie to feel like The Godfather.
He should feel free to whip his schlong out. It should be okay.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not advocating the R rating, but I like what Nolan did. I like what Nolan did, turning this into like some sort of epic crime saga.
Sure.
Right. And so I like, let's call that quote unquote adult, like in a more adult take on Batman rather than him,
more mature take.
But at the same time, I totally get it. And if I had kids, and for kids, kids inevitably want to see Batman in action. So it's like, I don't know, where do you please everybody? That's kind of tough.
See, I mean, I look at something like Suicide Squad, and I'm like, you know what? You want to go for a hard PG-13 on that? I get it. You want to go R on that? I get that too. Right. I'm kind of like the R rating, whether we acknowledge it or not, that's a barrier to entry. It just is. And I'm kind of like, if nothing else, Superman and Batman in the same movie should be something that anyone can see.
Yeah.
And when I say that, that doesn't equate to it being a kiddie movie. It should be something families can go to see, and there's enough in there for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just how I feel about that.
And it doesn't have to be fun and bouncy and colorful.
Sure.
You're just saying it should just be accessible.
Accessible, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, again, obviously, we've spoken about this film in the hypothetical for so long. I'm really looking forward to being able to speak about it in concrete past tense terms.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, this has been a long time coming. Usually, you get hyped up about a movie about a year before it comes out, but we were talking about this pretty seriously 2 years before.
Because they kicked it up by a year. Remember?
Yeah. I wonder if that was to get the DC universe in line.
Oh, I didn't think about that, but yeah. I'm sure that played into it.
Yeah, they probably and then reshot some stuff to calibrate it
or rewrote some stuff.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah. Well, and obviously this one has been a long time coming. Another series that's been a long time coming, which came and went. Star Wars. It is Star Wars news time. So we've finished talking about episode 7, and now it's upwards and onwards, episode 8, etc. So, Brian, what do we have in Star Wars news?
First, a thought from Brian. I think it was funny because there's all these little tidbits spilling out about episode 8, and we're like, oh, that sounds interesting. Cool. Yeah. All right. And I was reminiscing about episode 7, where it was like, I heard about Star Wars. It's like, shut your mouth.
Shut your filthy mouth.
Yeah. I don't want to hear it. But now it's like, I don't want the story spoiled, of course, and we will not do that here. But it's funny because when you hear little dribs and drabs, I'm like, oh, tell me. I'm curious. But it was like that initial entry point into where this story is going. Is like, I wanted nothing. I just wanted to go in there and have no clue what episode 7 was about. I just find that funny. Now there's like, I don't even see like spoiler. We have a potential spoiler here. You don't even see that anymore about episode 8.
That's hilarious.
But anyway, so I guess Daisy Ridley was at the Oscars this past weekend, and she was on the red carpet and asked by MTV News about how episode 8 was going. And she said something kind of interesting where she said, this is her quote here. We went back to Skellig, which is that Irish island that was used for Luke's
mountain island.
Yeah, his hideaway. And she said, we went back there to do the opening of episode 8. She said it was crazy doing the same scene with a different crew of people. So people have wondered, is the next one going to pick up exactly where the last one left off? And it seems from that quote, yep.
See, and
she said
again,
the same scene, not same location, not back with Luke. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
So that again makes me really want to know what the opening crawl is going to say for that movie.
What do you think it would say?
I think it's going to be like Rey is holding out Luke's lightsaber.
Still,
and that's it. That's it. But we still need to play the whole music, so it'll just scroll up and it'll be just like black the star field.
Yeah,
while the music plays.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's interesting. Because typically a Star Wars film does not pick up exactly where the last one left off. It's usually months or even years later, right? And then it takes place in a truncated amount of time. So, are there going to be flashbacks potentially? Are there going to be, who knows? But speaking of that, then a rumor that started this week, and I don't like getting too bogged down in rumors, but I'll throw this one out there. It was what the title was going to be for episode 8, which was, did you hear this?
I did not.
Tale of the Jedi Temple. That's the rumor. And
come on, that's not going to be the title of the movie.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not even saying I like it, but it's. It popped up a lot of places this week.
I assure you, that's not going to be the title of the movie. That would be insane.
I agree. And then that would make it sound like it would be like a flashback film, which
and an uninteresting film also.
Tale of the
Jedi Temple. Are you kidding me? No, come on, everybody. Brian just got me upset.
See, it's funny because I was going to say when I read that, I was like, no, that's not it.
Of course, that's not the title.
But then I just kind of moved on. But I just love your like fierce.
Because it's so moronic. Who would think of that?
I don't know, but it popped
Who would think that's the actual title?
What is that movie? Oh no, it's Apu.
Yeah.
When
I
Principal
was just
Skinner's
thinking that.
telling him he's
I
going to
was
write a
literally
book
just thinking
about
that.
dinosaurs being.
Billy and the Brontosaurus.
What were you thinking? This is the highest grossing movie of all time.
I was literally, that was flashing in my mind as I was just going off. See, folks, this is like the wavelength that Brian and I are on, where we can communicate
Through
telepathically Simpson thoughts.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
But we're looking forward to episode 8, which will not be called Tale of the Jedi effing Temple.
But you know what? Screw it.
Now you got to say it.
I just had a thought. I was like, it's not that far away. It's not that far away. I mean, not this Christmas, and we are getting a Star Wars movie this Christmas, but the next Christmas. So I
mean, we'll know the title by like fall. We'll know by
very likely, because that's this coming Thanksgiving. That'd be the equivalent of when we got the first trailer for episode 7.
That's correct.
Yeah, in terms of time.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I mean, forget episode 8. I mean, we'll have plenty to say about Rogue One.
That's true.
Which
Curious about that one.
Well, I've been saying for a little while, I'm a little bit hinky about Rogue One, because I just feel like I don't know that there's any drama to be had in the scenario that it's presenting.
Yeah, I hear that.
I'm kind of like, hey, let's do another Star Wars prequel, because those have done so well.
I know. Well, I feel like this, though, is the first of its kind, and it has been gestating longer than some of the ones that will be coming out in the next few years will have. Mm-hmm. So part of me feels like it's probably had a lot of love and care.
Sure.
So, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully the quality sustains over the years, but I just feel like, especially 7, I always said 7 couldn't fail.
Right.
Like, it just couldn't fail because they couldn't let it.
They couldn't let it, right?
Yeah. 8 could like not hit, but we'll be like, well, hopefully the next one will be better. We already love 7. You know what I mean?
Right.
So 7 had too much writing on it. And I feel like this one was being developed at the same time as 7, and it's going to probably have the same amount of
that makes sense.
Attention been given to it. So,
well, we'll have plenty to talk about, obviously, as those get closer, and we'll have plenty to talk about next time. We won't be talking about Batman versus Superman just yet, but we do have some fun stuff coming up. We also have a new movie commentary coming up later this month, so look out for that. We're not going to tell you what it is just yet, but it's going to be a fun one, and it'll tie in with Batman v Superman. So we've heard your suggestions. We've collated them. We've filed them. We've had PricewaterhouseCoopers tally it up. So that'll drop later this month, and that'll be a surprise for you. But Brian, as we wrap things up, anything you want to hype up, let people know about?
Well, I'm still writing for the Bob's Burgers comic book, but I don't have an issue till next month. I think April.
We got plenty of issues, Brian.
But there's back issues, and of course, everyone else who writes for it is great. So I'll just plug the Bob's Burgers comic book as a whole.
There you go. And the Bob's Burgers TV show, which Brian also works for.
Yes.
And it's a good one.
It's great. I would watch it even if I didn't work on it. I love it.
There you go. So watch that if you don't. Mm-hmm. And as for me, and Brian, if people want to find you, do you have any place people can seek you out if they want?
I check the skies for smoke signals.
Oh, okay.
So if anyone wants to, smoke signal me
or skywriting.
Mm-hmm, skywriting. I look up every now and then.
There you go. So if you want to reach Brian, skywriting is the approach to take. Meanwhile, I'm slightly easier to find. You can find me on Twitter at Zaki's Corner. That's ZAKI's Corner. That's also my website, zakiscorner.com. You can also find my movie reviews there and at the Huffington Post, as well as this show. You can also look for a new Nostalgia Theater podcast, which will hopefully go up next week. I was supposed to drop one a couple weeks ago, but I got sick, and that week ended up running into this week, and this is a movie film week, so I was like, well, that's just going to wait. So a little bit of a backup, but got a fun one coming up. So thanks for all the kind words for that. And while I'm talking about kind words, please do keep your kind words coming here for this show. Hit up our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. You can also email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're on TuneIn Radio. Wherever you seek out podcasts, please do leave a review, leave a star rating, let people know. Even if it's just 3 words, I love it. That's fine. Because it's the numbers that count. So star rating and all that stuff will help us immensely if you would do that, please. And with that pulls the curtain down on another episode of our show. But we'll be back in 2 weeks. So until then, this is the Movie Film Podcast. My name is Zaki Hassan on behalf of Brian Hall. We'll catch you later.
Welcome, friends. It's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.